Alrighty, we are live and back. This is Mickey Angeline with the Bad Filipino. And I have a really important, incredible guest with me today. I actually refer to him as the progressive punk rocker. We decided this off camera. So he is the progressive punk rocker. He fronts the band Screaming Bloody Marys. He's CEO of Die Laughing record label in the Bay Area. He's been doing the damn thing for longer than I've probably done anything. I welcome to the studio here, Dave Dalton. Dave, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
You like that?
I thought it was funny. It was like I was going to get an Academy Award. All right.
You're totally getting an Academy Award. So let's first dive into, what got you into music? Because you're into punk rock music. You've been doing it for quite some time. You just said you turned 67 this year.
Yeah.
When did you start? Okay, so what was it that drew you to punk rock music, and what did you first learn an instrument? Or did you go to your first show?
I think for punk rock, I have to go maybe a little step back. My influences to me were the Beatles first. I got rebellious when I first seen the Beatles and Ed Sullivan. I was in 1964. You're probably weren't even born.
I was not born yet, no.
Yeah. And then I come home from Cub Scout on a Sunday, Cub Scout meeting, going to the front room. All my sisters, they were there sitting down watching what's going on. They go, Dave, the Beatles. I go, Beatles. So I sat down, and my sister's a lot older than me. So I sat there and watched them come on. And, Mickey, I got these goosebumps. Almost, you get so excited, you get little tears in your eye. You get little tears. And I was just like, and I had my little Cub Scout hat on. So after it was all over with, I go to my room, take my uniform off, take my little neckerchief, my hat, put it in a bag, threw it in the garbage can. That was it.
You knew.
Off to the races, man. And when I seen George Harrison play his guitar, he had all these little pickups and knobs. I go, I want a guitar that holds things. Thinking you're going to be a player.
So wait, how old were you?
I was, I think I was 10 or 11. I'm not sure. 10.
So you see them on TV, and you went from wanting to be a Cub Scout to wanting to be a rock star.
I guess. I don't know.
And we've got the Beatles to thank for that.
I love the Beatles. They're the greatest thing. No, my sisters, they're in their teenage years. They were listening to the Ronettes, Temptations. I had a sister named Margie. I remember she used to wear black all the time, black turtleneck, her hair kind of bobby. And I remember she had a little pen, and it had a peace sign on it. Now this is 65 now. And they think
you were taking us way back.
Yeah, we're going way back. So when I seen that, I looked at her, and then I remember she used to hide records. And I opened up her dresser drawer, and there's all her little makeups, and I see all these records. I opened it up, and there was Bob Dylan. I never heard of Bob Dylan. And so I'm sitting there going, there's a vast new world out there. So I'm moving along. The high school years, my favorite bands, when I got to see bands, Mickey, I got to see the Spiders from Mars with David Bowie at Winterland, San Francisco. That's the Spiders from Mars. T-Rex, the Jeff Beck group with Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood. All those bands opened the floodgates. 1975, I remember I was walking into Banana Records. They have a little record store in Hayward, Banana Records. I was living in Hayward at the time. And I remember I was looking at, no, it was 76, I believe. I don't know when it was. I looked way in the back, and there was this, it looked like a transvestite band. And
okay.
It was the New York Dolls. That's what I thought. This is different here. I heard of all that shit, and I picked it up, bought it, and it just opened more doors. It was so sinister. You're going, ooh, what's behind this? Ooh. So as the time went on, what got me turned on to the punk rock, and it wasn't the New York punk rock. It was across the pond, the UK, and England. Remember the actor Tully Savalas?
Yeah.
He was a bald-headed guy, Kojak, whatever. Now, I was already married. Okay, and I had my first child. I was David. He was 2 or whatever. I'm laying in bed. He snuggled up to me, and my wife's walking back and forth at the time. And on TV, Tully said, "Well, this is like the 2020 news late at night." He goes, "Kids, England's dreaming." He has a smoke. He's lighting up, and they have these pictures of these people pogoing, hair spiked up, craziness. And you see this guy Johnny Lydon. I'm just like, I got another one of those rushes that I got from the Beatles. Now this is years later. I'm going, and right now I'm getting goosebumps. And there was the Clash, there was the Damned, Ian Dury, all these. I was going, fuck, what is this? So there was a little record store in Hayward. I forget the name of it. Fawcett Music. So I went in there and they had these little import section, and there was all these names. And I remember the Clash and the Sex. The Pistols came out in '77, I believe, that record. And I went to get the record, and I go, I want this. Never mind the Bullocks. Okay, I want this, man. I mean, I want it. I was almost salivating. I'm walking to the store, and the shopkeeper goes, "He bought one. He bought a Sex Pistols." And I go, "Oh man!" And so there's some jock guys. They had these T-shirts on. This cut, you can see their midriff, and there's these jock dudes walking around. And they're looking at me. They had long hair, and they had their whatever records they had. And I went outside with the record, and I got clobbered by those guys.
Wait, how old are you?
I must have been, I want to say 19.
Oh wow!
I don't know. I know you had to be, because when I turned 20, I was going, come on, 21. That's when I was working at the steel mill. But I got clobbered. These guys really clobbered me. But you know what's funny, Mickey? I held on
because you bought that music.
Yeah, that music, because punk rock back then, that's like 77, 78, right? And those guys were listening to they're probably listening to I don't know. I had nothing against the music they're listening to. They're probably listening to who knows, Bob Seger or whatever. I don't know. Led Zeppelin, who knows? But I got smacked. I got a black eye. You're going home to your apartment, and there's your wife with your child with a mouse. But I got the record.
And now, okay, were you playing in bands at that point, or was it after that?
No, I was playing in bands. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was playing like rock bands. You're playing your, I had long hair at the time. You're playing your real cool like rock band. It's the rock band. I had a Marshall Stack, a Les Paul, and something changed. That kind of music I was playing was not cool, man. It was not cool. I felt like this was not cool. There was no politics. It was all like hummy, and playing cute little girls over there.
Pop music.
Yeah, I just wasn't into that shit, man.
Yeah.
I first got my guitar, Mickey was in '67. I was playing the Louie Louie and some Monkey songs, whatever. And in high school, I played some little bands. You play at little parties, and you thought you were like Jeff Beck or something. But when I seen the thing that really revved me up, Mickey, on punk rock, when the Sex Pistols came to Winterman in San Francisco.
So you saw them live?
Oh yeah, it was on the bill was the Avengers, the Nuns, the Avengers, and the Pistols with Sid Vicious. The band, I think the band Crime was supposed to open up, but I talked to Ron Greco, he's in Crime, but there was some differences on some politics of it. I think one of the things when I went to that show at Winterland, it was crazy packed, 1,500 people, crazy packed. I had long hair, and I started seeing parts of the audience, the leather jackets, little Johnny Thunder spikes. I was wondering, a whole new wave is here. It's here, and all of a sudden, the Nuns are on, and the Avengers. I go, oh, this is cool. He's playing 3 chords on guitar, but it's exciting. He's blasting. Then the Pistols came out. Oh, fuck.
You were done.
That was it. gone. I already thought I'm gonna go to the barbershop tomorrow. That kind
Really? So okay.
The dude's gonna do it. But the funniest thing, Mickey, you're watching all the chaos. You're watching Sid, and he wasn't a good bass player. It was him looking at him. He was attractive, had that sexiness. He was just like this tall drink of water, all this hair. He had the best hair. And then you see on the side of the stage, Bill Graham, the promoter, and their manager, Malcolm McLaren, arguing with each other. It was a spectacle of goodness. And that's what opened it up. Then I got to see the Clash. There was a club in San Francisco called the Mabuhay Gardens. They call it the MAB. And the Mabuhay Gardens, Nessa Aquino, it was a Filipino restaurant. It turned into a punk rock venue. You can go to Wikipedia, it tells you everything. And I've seen bands. I've seen the Police there. They were the Police. I got to see the Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers, the Dam, the Jam. All those memorable shows. Back in them days, now we're going into early 80s. Those days you see the Stone have shows going on Broadway upstairs. Below is the map. Shit was going all over the place. All over the fucking place. Things were going, you see punk bands sprouting up. You'll see the Punks, Avengers. Then the Dead Kennedys came up. It was just like popping up all over. So that's where it hit me, you know.
And then okay, so then at what age did you finally cut your hair? I want to know.
And it was like, I think it was the Pistols. Next day I cut my hair.
I
grew
did
it
do
out
it
again
okay.
down the road. I grew it out again down the road, and then that turned into dreadlocks. But I cut it the next day. It was the day after the Pistols played. I went to the local barbershop and cut it off.
So did it change your path of the type of music you played after that?
Yeah, because you know what, in the 70s, you had like bands like Montrose. I think, I don't know who else. All those cool guitar players. I couldn't play a fucking lick like that. But when you seen Steve Jones, Joe Strummers from the Clash, they're playing bar chords. I go, I can play that, and it was electrifying for me.
Because it sounds like you were attracted to having a message with your music, and that message being, go your own path. Don't follow what society tells you you should be doing.
A cookie cutter. I don't want to be a cookie cutter band. I'm still learning how to play guitar. My band, Screaming Black. I am. I had a mind block the other day. I was at my guitar player's house. Danny, he's my guitar player. He's in a cool older punk rock band called the Social Unrest, and I'm glad he's in my band. Great guitar player. And I had a mental block. I just couldn't get this one chord. He goes, Dave, it's like this, and I just fucking up.
You're like, can't do it.
I can't do it, but I did it. After I got yelled at by him and stuff, I did it.
So I have a request. I need to ask you about Beauty of Dogs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. That's 1985, I believe, or 86. Beauty of Dogs started in a studio called Cap Street Studios. And, I was just, playing the bar chords. I met a guy named Wes. No, I met this girl named Carlin. She was from Denmark. We hit it off as friends and everything. And she was a bass player. And she goes, Dave, you know how to play guitar? Yeah, like a little bit. And he goes, let's do a band. All right. So we would get our substance abuse. We get our speed. I don't care if anybody knows. That's my history.
Well, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. We go to this place called Cap Street in San Francisco. It's in the heart of the Mission, where all the hookers and junkies are at and everything. And it's okay. We go in the studio. We start at 9 in the evening. We would be crawling out of there at 6 in the morning going, oh, shit. Then we go down to the Uptown and get some Bloody Marys and stagger on home, whatever. But the Beauty of Dogs started. So we met this guy named John Sykes. He was kind of psychotic, but he was a good drummer. Then this guy came in named Wes James. I fucking love that guy, man. he's not with us anymore. He died several years ago. Wes James came in, and he had that Popeye look with he had the Popeye hat, and you could tell he was a street person, a punk rocker. And he goes, "Hey, Dave, my name is Wes James." So we got it together, and we started writing some songs. And there was a club at that time called a Chatterbox that just started. Chatterbox is like the CBGBs of San Francisco. That's where all the rockers, the Johnny Thunder clones would all go there and whatever. So we got our debut there. But the Beauty of Dogs, I love that band. And I love Wes James. He was like we were brothers. We were just brothers, man. And he played with he played some shows with G.G. Allen. I don't know if you know who G.G. Allen is.
No.
G.G. Allen's a punk rocker. You think Iggy Pop's this and that, like, oh man, he's crazy. Well, G.G. Allen had a deal. He would take a shit on stage and throw it at the audience. He would pee, beat up anybody that came near him. He would jump out there in the crowd, grab women, throw them around. You have to see a YouTube video. That was what G.G. Allen and Wes played with him. But when I used to bring that to an interviews, I go, yeah, Wes used to play with G.G. Allen, and you go, but no, Beauty Dogs were only around for like maybe 8 months.
Oh, that's not a long time.
Not a long time, but then Wes, I ran into Wes some years later. I think it was 89. 89 when I was putting the Screaming Bloody Mary. No, it was the band called Dick and Jane.
Okay.
No, Dick and Jane was a 3-piece, and we only lasted like maybe 6-7 months. And it was Linda XYZ. She's a really great person. She had a drum machine. She would do a drum machine. And I had a guy named Roger Midow. We call him Spider. He played guitar. I played guitar. And we did a band with a drum machine. It was like the Cramps. I swear to God. And the drum machine goes through a big piece. Oh, boom, boom, boom. And we're playing guitar. It was like almost ministry type stuff. And we got to open up for some really cool bands. We opened up for Green Day, Johnny Thunders and the Oddballs, the Melvins, Flipper.
And wait, which band was this?
The Beauty of Dogs.
So
no, Dick and Jane.
Dick and Jane.
Dick and Jane. Yeah, and Linda XYZ was in a kind of a well-known new wave punk band called Alienation, and her single, the only single they put out, that thing goes for $200. So, but I think Dick and Jane, I think we did really good, but it was funny because we played with the Looters and the Untouchables, and
wow.
I remember her drum machine is all set. Now, when you have a mag light that has a magnet on it, never go over your drum machine to try to check out the numbers because the magnet will demagnetize what you have programmed. So
did you learn that the hard way?
Yeah, she pressed it instead of going doom, 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 it was going doom, 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 doom. It was almost like marimba.
Oh no.
It was like a train ride.
Oh no.
But we laughed it up. People were giving us an applause. But no, that was Dick and Jane. That came back some years. It got back together like 20-something years later.
Oh, okay. So what years or when was that? When was Dick and Jane?
Dick and Jane came right about, I think, I want to say 88. I don't know. Probably about there. And we lasted like 6 months. It was imploding because I wanted a drummer. I wanted to start playing fucking rock, man.
Yeah.
And then Spider goes, I want a drummer. So we asked her, why don't you just get a drummer? You do the singing. I'll share. She wasn't a fantastic singer. She was more of a beat poet singer. Like, she would talk her words and put a little bit of a trill in her voice. Which was exciting because it had that really edgy Romeo Boyd vibe to it. So we got in a fight. We got in an argument. She goes, we're not breaking up. We're going to stay together forever. And I go, I want a drummer,
Yeah.
So we moonlighted. Me Me and Spider moonlighted. In other words, we were off to go. I said, yeah, what are you guys doing tonight? Oh, we're going to go see a show. No, we would go to a studio. We had a guy named Paulie from a band called Sonic Brain Jam and a bass player named Smooth from Sonic Brain Jam. So we moonlighted. We started making the nucleus of the Marys. And one day we said, yeah, we got to show Chatterbox. And she flipped out. And I didn't talk to her for 20-something years. You know.
So she felt like you cheated on her.
Yeah, it's like you.
Because you basically did.
Yeah, we basically did. We kind of moonlighted and kind of cheated. But I did ask her, we can do this on this. We can have Dick and Jane. Let me do a side project. She wouldn't have it. She wouldn't have it.
Well, I don't blame you then.
And so some years later, we got back together, and it was okay. It lasted for a while, and then then we went out. I haven't talked to her in 2 years now, so.
So then after Dick, after Dick and Jane, was that when you got into the Screaming Bloody Marys, or were there a few bands in between?
No, we were moonlighting. That was becoming the Marys. We were moonlighting. So
okay,
and we were digging the power, the Marshall stacks and the power chords, and we're digging. And then my friend Alfie, she owned the Chatterbox. One of my best friends as a woman. She's like an amazing person. So, hey, Alfie, Bloody Mary's new band. Can we play? Yeah, you can play here. I have a good bill for you, whatever. I think we opened our first date. I think our first show was opening for NoFX. Because NoFX were playing that club. They weren't as huge as they are now. And we had a good response. And then we started moving through the Haight, playing the I-Beam and the Night Break. Playing the on Broadway, all these little places, the Berkeley Square, all over the place. It was spanning out. Then finally we got another guitar player. And then we got Wes. I seen Wes walking on the street, staggering, bottle of booze. Wes. And then now we're a 5-piece. It's going. He learned the songs. We went on tour up north of Vancouver and back. And I think he got cold feet and he just left. I didn't see him years after. He just never came back. So we got this other guitar player, Juan, nice guy. He's not with us these days because he's passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
And this is where Die Laughing Records comes in now.
Okay.
This is like borderline 89. Well, right around the 89 going in, borderline. And at those days, we had no social media. We had no cell phones. We had to get our music out there. We had money to put in phone booths. Luckily, somebody would answer it on the other end, a club owner, a presser or a presser record, so forth. And so one day we were at Spider's apartment. We lived together up there in Sanchez Street near, I forget the areas. I'm going to say, we lived over there near the Castro in that area.
Okay.
I like that area a lot. I loved it. So we're sitting around on the couch and go, we got to make a record, vinyl. Because CDs were coming out, but I want a vinyl, man. So we all pulled our money together, and some of us were on public assistance. Some of us had jobs, so we just kind of scrounged it. We pressed like 200 black vinyl with a copy mat sleeve. You go Xerox it. We got all that shit for free, Xeroxing, because Paulie worked at the copy mat, but he would shut it down at 11. We'd come sneaking in there like a bunch of elves, taking free shit.
You do it where you can.
And you would fold it, smoking pot, having a burger.
Total punk rock.
Yeah. So once we got that, we needed a label. I go, Spider. I said, Spider, bands like Bad Religion have Epitaph and BYO, they have the Youth Brigade, which is the Stern Brothers. Why don't we make our own label? So he goes, what do you want to do? So we sat on his couch watching a sci-fi movie, and I seen this big old poster. It was like some sci-fi poster, and it said, "You'll see this movie, and you'll die laughing." I go, there it is, die laughing. And then we all had a beer. Okay, it's done. That's the big decision.
And that's how you came up with that name.
Yeah, I'm looking at a poster. And then we made the record, and we toured on that record, and we did really well. And then we come back.
So hold on, back up real quick. So you created your own label so that you could promote your own music.
Yeah, because back in those days, Mickey,
That's great. That's genius.
I mean, there were indie labels, but we didn't know these indie labels like Alternative Tentacles, the Dead Kennedys label, or Epitaph, Bad Religion's label, because they're all striving for their own thing.
Right.
Because Warner Brothers, Epic, all those guys weren't going to knock on your door and sign you. They won't sign a punk band.
No.
There's no way, man.
No, it's their money that they're fronting, so they have to make sure that they get return on investment. And for them, punk rock music wasn't going to do it.
No, it wasn't. And already the hair metal bands were already ruining that. They would go, they made big bills for these labels. They're not going to take a chance on us. Hell no, man. So we started doing that. And then one day we were already at home. Me and Spider went down Mission Street, go get a breakfast burrito walk, and go into the punk rock shop, the store that sells all this punk rock stuff. And I see this guy named Tim Yohannan. He was the editor-in-chief for Maximum Rock and Roll magazine and Maximum Rock and Roll radio. He's passed too. And Jeff Bale and Jello Biafra from the Kennedys walking. Hey guys, what's going on? They knew who we were. We were talking to him. And Tim goes, that John, Long Gone John, talks about you guys, and he thinks you're the best. He wants to put a record out. I go, who's Long Gone John? He goes, Sympathy for the Record Industry. And I go, So I never heard of him, but I bought a magazine. There was an ad. Now, Long Gone John put out 800 singles in 1 year. That's crazy. Who does that? Because and there's a documentary on Netflix, and Mickey used to see. It's called the Long Gone John documentary. On his label, he had everybody from Dickless, Hole, Melvins, New York Dolls, all kinds of the Pandoras, Barracudas, all this stuff. And he liked this. So we were on Sympathy now. We thought, all right. So then we put out other things. We put out some more singles, Mickey. So now we're like in 95, and we sent a little cassette tape in the mail to Dr. Dream Records in Southern California. A little cassette tape. And like I said, we had no computers.
Well, that was the hustle back then, is you mailed off and hoped radios would play you. You hoped radios and labels would get back with you and want to sign you. I mean, it was a hard hustle back then.
And we actually clipped a lot of those cassettes out of Woolworths and Walgreens. Yeah, we were little thieves. Okay. And I'm sorry. I don't recommend it to anybody to steal.
Yeah, don't steal.
No. So after a while, I'm moving about 1994. A guy named Maurice calls me up from Dr. Dream Records at my apartment. Hey, it's Dr. Dream Records. You want to sign you, do this, do that, make a record. So we did. We signed a contract, made a record, and this and that. And then Mercury Records picked us up for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So it all worked out. Meanwhile, I'm putting out singles, split singles, 7-inch clear vinyl, all that on Die Laughing Records, Mary's, maybe a split single with another band, Teen Generate, the Japanese band across the pond. And then we started getting notoriety in the label. Then the band, we all started fighting with each other, doing too many things, substance abuse. And I quit. I said, I'm done. I can't do none of it. So both stopped. And then after that, Mickey,
So what happened for you in between time? Like, what happened to Dave?
Well, I sobered up. I wasn't an alcoholic. I want to say I straightened up doing my drug addiction. I did a lot of heroin back in the day. And then, so I straightened it all up, thanks to my family. So that's done. So when you get off a drug like heroin or any substance, you're clean 90 days, and then you go, now what do I do? You start gaining a little weight, and you're going, okay, what do I do now? So I started picking up the acoustic guitar, and I wanted to be Bob Dylan and Tom Waits. So I started doing that and playing acoustic. Then I became the old cheeky bastard, the unfortunate bastard, acoustic stuff.
Wow. And when was this?
That was, Mickey, I'm going ahead of myself.
Okay, that's okay.
when I
We could
cleaned up
bounce all over the timeline.
so the Marys are gone, labels, that's it. Right about 97, 90, 98, I started Cell Block 5.
A
That
band?
yeah, the band, it was a hardcore band. That opened doors for me, man. Holy shit. Man, I mean, I was starting to write like 1 minute songs and anthems and pits where we'd gone stage diving, and we would open up for mass big monster bands. Now I'm on a different scale from opening up for like punk bands. Now I'm opening up for hardcore bands. You know, we're talking about fucking Exploited, UK Subs, and the Discharge, and all these British hardcore bands. You know, and I learned a lot from those guys. They became friends, but I learned a lot. You know, they lived proper. They on stage they were mean fuckers, man. But they had their moments. They had their jobs. They had their family life. You know, I learned a lot from the British bands. You know, so the Cell Block went on. We did some good records. We got some big fucking shows. We got signed here and there. And then I moved to Southern California from San Francisco, Southern California. I went to Huntington Beach. I was there 5 years. I met a lot of people, and this is where I learned a lot of stuff from my brain, business, how it works. You know, asking people questions, getting big shows. The band, the band called the Addicts.
I've heard of them, yes.
Yeah, those guys are good friends. They kind of nurtured Cell Block 5, you know. And so after that, one night we were touring with the band called the Vibrators from England, and in San Francisco, that was our last day on the tour. And I let my sister know in advance I'm coming back. I want to live in NorCal. I miss NorCal, man. I really miss it. So she met me at the club with her husband. And I told my band members, hey, man, I'm not going back. I'm going to stay with my sister and live here. And my friend Mike, the bass player, kept my gear. He was such a nice guy. Fucking awesome. I'll come back and get it in a couple of weeks. He goes, what about the rest of your clothes and your record collection? I don't care, man. I'm staying here. You know, I miss Northern California. I miss my family. You know, I'm not saying it's the best place to live, but I love it. You know, so now I'm back, and you know, I'm rekindling friendships with my sons, older sons.
Yeah, because we talked about that off camera, about you learning so much as a father. You know, because when you first became a father, you were so young. You said you were, what, 18? It was the
18.
70s.
Yeah, there's so much, you know, you know, and the people are going to see this. And I don't give a fuck what they think. You know, I don't really care. I knew what I did, and I did it wrong. If I can do it over again, yeah. Some things I wouldn't change. This is part of my life, but some things I would change with my relationships. You know, again, you know, you get married, you're 18, all of a sudden you have a kid, and you have to go work at a steel mill. You know, those are the years that you should be out there having a good time. I'm not saying getting drunk, getting fucked up, but seeing things, you know. So I wasn't a very good father. I wasn't a mean person. I just I wasn't there, you know. But you know, so moving forward and forward and forward. You know, my son Max, he's 13. I love him fucking more than life itself.
So by the time Max comes around, you already learned the importance of being and wanting to be.
Oh,
I mean, if we could touch on it, if you had to go back and think about it, why do you think you weren't as involved as a father when you were younger? What do you think was the missing piece that you realized later on after having Max?
I think when you're young, in your teens, well, you know, 19, you're still a teenager, man. You don't know what's going on.
But it's also the 70s. It's so different than today.
70s. It just, you wanted to, you know, I don't get me wrong. I love my ex. She was gorgeous. This and that. We had a house. We had a child. I said, okay, this is good. I hang up some vices, my guitar and whatever. But something was missing inside my spirit. My spirit was dying. And then obviously her father, I see some of the men at work, my age, that look older than me, and I was missing that spirit. And I wasn't there when I should have been there. I mean, I wasn't out gallivanting. My mind was not there. I was just up to go to work, bring a paycheck, make life work. Then, down the road, some years, we parted ways, and then, yeah, now I'm up here now. They're good kids. The two older one's a firefighter and one's a teacher at UCLA. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I give praise to my ex and her husband helping raising them. And that's the only thing I regret. I didn't see their certain birthdays and certain things like that. But with Max, I've learned a lot, man. And I think all the punk rock dads and dads out there, man. One thing is, man, don't go away and make other kids. We have this first one here, and always man up, So the whole thing is, I got Max. He's 13, good drummer.
Yeah, you said he's in a band.
Yeah, he's in a band,
so he kind of followed in your footsteps.
Yeah.
Well, as far as his love for music.
Yeah, he loved music. I mean, the funniest thing, this kid likes hip hop. He liked the Jonas Brothers at one time. He's growing up. You're a kid,
Yeah.
And he likes dancing. He likes dancing. He takes dance classes. And his mom,
right on.
He does all this cool stuff.
Right on. Good for him.
He's growing his hair out again. He's beautiful, and he gets embarrassed because before the pandemic, he would go to school and how his little buddies and stuff, because they live up in the up there, Kelseyville, near the border. And some kids discovered YouTube, and then they put it together. Is this your dad? And he goes, and Max would get red and put his head down. It shows me jumping into the crowd with a guitar and stuff. And he goes, and Max,
is this like older stuff or now?
No, this is older stuff. This is when I can actually do that.
I was going to say, because if you're still doing it now, hey, that's cool.
Oh, but the whole thing is, yeah,
Actually, that's a good bring up. So what is that like for Max to see and have his friends see Dad being this punk rock, right? This punk rock angst player back in the day.
His mom was telling me one time, he goes, they have a big home. They have a big giant home on a ranch. And the kids are asking, and Abby, that's his mom, goes, yeah, you should have seen Max. They ask him, so this is your dad? He goes, yeah. And he would go with the shoulders.
Oh,
he went
the old shrug.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my pops.
Yeah, so the thing is, I'm really, really grateful. He lives in a real good place. He's learning music. He's got two girls playing with him, plays punk rock. But in the other spectrum, he loves listening to The Who, Led Zeppelin. He likes NWA. He just bounces all over the fucking place,
He's just learning about all of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good to have an eclectic taste of music.
Yeah, So, getting back to Die Laughing Real Fast. All of a sudden, 2015 came, and Dick Manitoba of the band called the Dictators. I don't know if you know who the Dictators are.
No, but that's a clever name.
Yeah, they've been around since Iggy Pop during the early 70s. So a comeback was coming at Slim's and was already sold out. And Manitoba seen the Marys like in the 90s at the Paradise Lounge and DNA Lounge and stuff. This is when they used to tour here. And some way or another, our agent got a hold of us and say, hey, man, Dick wants you guys on the show. It's sold out. I want you to open up. I go, fuck. And he wants the Marys. I go, I don't have a band. They're gone. I don't know where they're at. What am I supposed to do? So what I did, I got a hold of a guy named Hans. He was one of the bass players. Juan, he was like one of the guitar players. And we got a drummer. He was in a band called the Gargoyles. He helped out. And then I was looking for a singer, Mickey. Oh fuck! I'm looking for. I don't want to sing. And one day I was on Facebook, and a great girl named Angelique Ecstasy. Angelique. She was in a band called Venus Bleeding and other bands. And I seen her. I go, oh, Angel. I go, hey, you want to play a show? Learn some songs and play Slims with Dictators. Fuck yeah! And she was a ball of fire, and I just adored her. The funniest thing about Angelique, the first show, punk rock shows he's ever seen, this is what I understood. She told me is I think it was uh, the Bloody Marys and Pansy Division in Modesto. So she goes, yeah, I was 14. Nice to see you guys. And she was with us for several years.
Oh, so no, when you say this, is this bringing Screaming Bloody Marys back, or is this a different band?
What it was supposed to be me because Landon, my agent, goes, yeah, they want you to do the Bloody Marys. I go, oh, I got a band. He goes, well, just go up there and play acoustic guitar and play some acoustic and sing Bloody Mary songs. Who knows? Okay, I'll do that. So I committed to it. 20 minutes said, no problem. So as time went on, months went on, I go, oh, I started getting members, and I show up with this band, and the sound man goes, wasn't supposed to be one person? They go, no, I picked them up along the way on BART. Just giving them shit, you know. And so it worked out. Dick loved it. We were together for several years. Then that's when I brought the label back.
Okay.
The label comes back.
And what year was that?
That was the same year that the Marys got back in 2015.
And has the style of music for Marys changed at all? Progressed, stayed classic in its angst? I mean, because times are changing, right? Political stances are changing. The way the world is changing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had the same set, but some songs we were starting to write a few songs, but again we were getting in that lazy mode. We're becoming a K-tel band. What I mean by K-tel is like when you get the Dead Kennedys, they do the same songs over again because they don't want to go in the studio and write. Oh. It's weird. A lot of bands do that, and we became a K-tel band, doing the same songs from different parts of our records and stuff, and maybe changing a few words. So that as years in those 5 years, we had the best times. I'm not going to bitch about it. Play with almost every band on the planet. But when Angel moved, and it was sad, she moved several weeks before a big show we're going to do called the Crash Fest at the Oakland Metro Theater. And it was sad, but then getting back with the label and the label started again. I had some back catalog. I'm going to move forward a little bit. And then I got a hold of my friend Rob Trisler, my good friend Rob Trisler. And he became my CEO of Die Laughing Records. And I wanted a distributor right away. Can you get a distributor? Mickey, it makes you bona fide.
It sure does.
It does. Makes you like, you're real. He goes, we can't do that right now. Let's get a Facebook thing. Let's get a website. You don't want a distributor right now, man. And I was begging and screaming at him. He goes, no, Dave, give it a year. And he was right. 1 year we built up our thing. My first signing, I was at Gilman Street. My first signing was a young lady I'd seen on stage. She gets mad when I say this, so I'm not going to mention her name.
Okay.
It's a long story.
And you're referring to act on your label?
Yeah. There was an act on my label, and all of a sudden I looked and I go, man, she is amazing fucking acoustic and got that fucking voice. That was my first signing.
And what year was that?
That was 2000. Jesus, I don't want to say 16. I don't know, right about there. She was already kind of on a label out of Sacramento, but they didn't do it justice. I was part of that label at one time.
I almost feel like I bet I know who you're talking about, but you don't want to bring up the name, so we won't.
Yeah,
because I live in Sacramento, so.
So what happened? She was on tour, and her tour started. I think it was in New Orleans, and she calls me up. Dave, Halamad is fucking me over. And I said, I tell you what, I think we signed her right about Halamad Records. They were fucking her over. I said, I tell you what, we're signing you. you'll have your CDs in 14 fucking days in New Orleans. And we came through, Mickey.
Wow.
We fucking came through, and she couldn't believe it. So that was our first signing, and I don't regret it. I regret losing her, but that's just the way it is.
The way it goes. So now that's 2016. So it's 4 years down the road. How many artists do you have signed now?
Jeez. I think about 24. I don't know.
Wow.
24.
Because you started this label to perpetuate your own music, which is smart. You control how your music is. And then you changed it to now opening it up for other artists.
Yeah.
And you now have 24 in 4 years.
Yeah, about 24.
That's great.
The funniest thing is one band I really, really like, and they're my friends. I'm not gonna be prejudiced. They're my friends. I want to help them out. They're the band called Bite SF, starring Chelsea Rose. Now I known Chelsea for a long time, since the late 80s, early 90s, and I've seen a lot of her incarnations of Bite. But man, this one's the best Bite ever. I remember she was in the studio with East Bay Ray working on a record from the Kennedys, and she asked East Bay, she goes, "I want to get on the label. What's a good label to get on?" And Ray said, "Ask Dave Dalton. Ask him." So from some way or another, we started working together, and it's an honor to have. I love her. I think she's great. I like to rock and roll. Okay, and she's been with us for a long time. She's part of the family. She's part of the comeback part. I signed her band, and then I forgot who else. There was a bunch of bands that came in. They were coming at us left and right. Now we're here.
Jillian's correcting you. She says you have 30 artists now.
Oh shit! I don't know.
Look at that. See, you're just doing so well. It's hard to keep track. When you're balling like Dave is balling with Die Laughing Records, it's hard to keep track.
But I think, I always get this one question. They go, "What's the best band you like on the label?" I can't tell you.
Oh, that's a hard one. How can you pick one?
I can't fucking say that, man.
Oh no.
I guess that's.
You might be able to list things you like individually about the bands for sure.
Right.
But
I can't do that. But
no.
I think one of my proudest signings, all of them my proudest signings, but I think when Sam McBride from Fang came to me one time, he called me. Oh, I think it was Facebook. "Hey man, what's going on? Hey, what's going on with that label, Die Laughing?" And I told him a little bit about it. "Yeah, man, I'm interested." And I said, "Man, I can't afford you, man." So I kind of turned him down. "I can't afford you, no way." And then sometime later, he asked me, and he was sincere, and that made me feel good. And it was a no-brainer. That guy sells. It's not a fucking no-brainer at all. And he's such a nice guy. His whole band are hardcore, man. But he's a great guy, And so I remember Fang was coming on. We had Bite. I forgot, a bunch of bands that started coming. Then East Bay Ray gave me a call one time and goes, "Hey, Dave, I'm interested in getting maybe re-release some of my stuff." And I go, "What?" I thought he was bullshitting me, man. So now, Mickey, we're here with a lot of bands, which I really love.
And how did you end up finding these bands? Was it you seeking them out? Was it word of mouth from the bands existing on the label? Like, how did it work for you? Was it?
A lot of them came to us. A lot of them did. I mean, I did seek a few out. I got the Vibrators on it. Union 13. They were on Epitaph at one time. They were with us. A lot of them came to us. And I'm really proud. We did something right. A lot of them came to us.
That's awesome. And you actually have you're branching out because you also now have Chicanery Records, correct?
Yeah, Chicanery Chick. That's in the
Chicanery Chick Records, yeah.
Yeah, we have one artist. Jillian never wanted a label. She wanted to just have a site to help front it or women bands to develop their skills, to take their videos and put them on that site to help them up.
To give them a platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I told her, "Look, why don't let's do a small grassroots label. no frills, no spills. I'm not going to promise the world. Maybe put some stuff online, help them out, throw them on a few shows with some of the bigger bands, whatever. And she goes, I don't know if I can do this. I go, yes, you can. Because I'm like, oh, we got Jillian on. How Jillian started is so fucking funny.
Okay, go ahead.
We met, hung out with each other. And then one day, I was on the computer, and I'm bad with grammar. I'm fucking horrible. I can't cross a T or dot on I to save my life. So I go, hey, Jill, I'm going to send you this letter over. Can you cross the T's, dot the I's, and make it look pretty? And of course she did. And, oh, wow, that's nice. And I know she was giggling while she was doing this. I know she was. And I sent it to one of the artists. And I kept doing that. Hey, Jillian, can you help me out do this? Like, yeah. And she goes, okay. I go, okay, now you're my A&R. You're gonna go work with Sam from Fang. You're gonna be the A&R. And she goes, what is that? Don't worry, it's smoke and mirrors, man. Just do it. And then now she's working with Fang. She works with movie actor Michael DeBarge, East Bay Ray, Golden Robot guys, PR people, met you,
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to go to college to learn this shit, man.
You really don't. Lord knows I haven't.
You on
I
radio?
hustled. I hustled same way as most people. I, writing reviews for music, had a radio show for 2 years, did podcasting. I work now for the Women's International Music Network. It's the drive. It's the desire. It's also the willingness to learn as you go, and the collaborations, the networking. It's amazing what grows from that, and it's all organic, especially when it's organic. There's nothing that beats that, and that's the basis of punk rock right there, is it being organic and you being true to yourself.
Exactly.
And you not selling yourself out, so to speak. You branching out with the Chicanery Records is great because as it's less than 6% of women are recognized across the board in the music industry still today, and we're talking on all aspects, not just playing music.
And this is 2020, but then you take, man.
I know, but you take a genre like punk rock music, and that makes it even smaller because it's such a hard style.
It's minuscule, tiny. And you didn't go to school for this. You just got a laptop, started up. I'm sure did this, that. And it's like Jillian. She's working as a receptionist in a beauty salon or something like that.
You just say yes. I mean, I was asked by somebody when I took on my first trip to NAMM, which was in 2012, and I had someone help me secure one interview that turned into 3 interviews that day. And then I networked with a photographer, and I asked, well, who are you here for? And she mentions the name of the magazine. So I thought, I wonder if they will want to produce or publish my stuff. Reached out. I just said, hey, I worked with your photographer at NAMM. And she says, oh, hey, do you review music? Yes, of course I do.
Of course.
Dave, I did not. I said, of course I do. And she says, perfect. How about we do this? I will throw you my artists, right, from LA. You do reviews for them in your website, and then you give me yours, and I will publish them in my magazine. You better believe I'm online reading, going, how does Rolling Stone write their stuff? How does Billboard? And I just started... Okay, and then I somehow add in, well, what is it about me? What's the value that Mickey can add in and mix it?
Right.
And I'm nervous because I lied. But did I lie? I just lied about me when I was, right? And it just took off from there. A lot
of these guys don't go to journalism. They don't go to journalist school. They don't do that.
You definitely don't have to anymore. You had to in the 50s, 60s, and maybe even the 70s. You don't have to do that. You're not Mickey Spillane or anybody like that. Exactly.
It's like when we talk about women in music and in the industry. Yeah, they're like 10 paces behind the average male in the upper, bigger labels and stuff.
Yep.
To me, punk rock. Of course, we know punk rock started in the late 70s. But to me, let's just go way back. Betsy Smith, Billie Holiday, to me, was punk rock. You didn't have to have the spike hair and jump around. It came from their soul. And they probably got 1 cent an album. which is
It's
a
horrible.
fucking tragedy, you know, especially being black, you know, it's
Yeah.
tragic. It's like the band, like Chuck Berry and those guys, you know, when you have Chuck Berry writing Roll Over Beethoven, Johnny Be Good, and all of a sudden you hear the Beach Boys doing that. I have nothing against the Beach Boys. And they're making the lion's share of the dough,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a fact.
That even
It's
goes
that part of history that people didn't
Yeah.
want to talk about.
No, of course not. I
It's
mean,
literally the Jim Crow era. It's, you know, so many Elvis.
Exactly.
I mean, so many of
Exactly.
those artists got famous with someone else writing the music, and the credit just wasn't there.
you know, it's like Trini Lopez and Brazil '66 and
Yeah.
Sergio Mendes and all those guys. They got ripped off a lot, man. You know, it's just, you know, in this business it's tough. But if somebody's gonna fuck over one of my artists, and I'm knowing that, I go to bat for them, man. I call a spade a spade. You know, that's how I do it.
See that you're no frills, no bullshit, and that's your reputation, and that's what's solid, and that's most likely why so many come to you, because they know this.
Well, I just gotta be
Yeah.
honest, because I know tomorrow I might have some food on my table. So I'm a retired motherfucking union guy, and I was running a label, and I was playing, so I can fall back on my retirement. So I can tell this fucking guy, go fuck off. You're gonna be ruined. No, I'm not, man. I'm gonna stay off a table of food. I'm gonna sleep, watch my army movies at night, and I'm good.
Oh
to
my.
go. You know?
So then, okay, so let's touch on your latest endeavor. You're working with Golden Robot. What
Yes.
is that?
Golden Robot is a conglomerate. They're from Australia.
Okay.
They have several labels. They have the Golden Robot Records that has like the Jefferson Starships on the LA Guns, bunch of bands. I just got signed to that. My whole back catalog got signed for that. You know.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then of course the Bloody Mary's on that. And then there's different little labels, Riot Records. Jesus, I forget, man. I can't think. But and they've helped us out a lot. We cross promote, like Bite, the one I was talking about, Bite, starring Chelsea Rose. I wanted to advance them up more, give them a little more status. So I say, hey, Mark, why don't you put them on Riot Records and help them out? So now, technically, they're on 3 labels: Riot, Golden, and Die Laughing, and that's good for the heart and soul, you know. And so it's called cross promotion. So what happened on that? I remember one last year. Rob kept calling my COO. He's calling me for a couple of days, going, "Hey man, these guys got a hold of us, Golden Robot." And I said, "What the fuck is that, man?" Some label wants to talk to us. I go, and I didn't take it serious. Yeah, I'll get back to him. I had to go do something else. 2 days later, Dave, we got to talk to them. These guys are in LA right now. They want to really talk to us. I go, so okay, get them on a call. We got on a conference call. Then they introduced themselves. All this ABC XYZ da 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 da. Goes, can you guys come down? Get down here for tomorrow, a next day meeting. I go, and it really was like, okay. I said, yeah, we could do it. We'll leave tonight. We drove down there like a motherfucker. All of us, me, Jillian, Rob, drove. Got in at 3 a.m, tired as fuck, man. And then we go meet them, and they were straight there. They were genuine. They give us made a deal with them, and they provide us with PR. If we need some finances, you know, we'll ask them, but we won't go to the well all the time. I want to be self-contained,
Right.
But they're really good guys. We have a lawyer. There's a lawyer on the team that if we have problems, that lawyer will go to bat for us. We have PR in Australia. I think all over the world: Tokyo, Germany, New York, here.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, they have the muscle, and they have that PR. I was flattered. I think Mark was telling me, he goes, mate, Rob does all this technical stuff. He puts stuff online. Jillian is an amazing A&R person, this, that, whatever. I got the muscle and I got the PR, but you got the stuff, people come to you. You got the bands. You know where to get the bands. Da 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 da. But I told Mark one day, you don't have to massage me that hard, man. I like Mark. He's a good guy. He's a real good guy. His son Jagger is such a nice kid. He's in a band called The Kids. I really like him. But no, this is where we're at. We're with Golden Robot. Our contract comes up the end of the year, but we're going to be working some stuff out with them. I'm looking forward to it.
So for your label, do you have any of your artists have new music coming out soon? Or, I mean, how's it going for you, especially with the whole COVID thing? Like, our live, I know the live has just pretty much been axed, but.
Yeah, I think what's happening, a lot of the bands, like the Art of Blondes, band called Carvels, NYC, Hellflowers, who else? Oh, the Dogs. We just signed the Dogs. They're in the studio making music, and we're doing a lot of online stuff. Hopefully get some physical out for them. We're trying to stay clear of that right now because there's no shows. But what's happening, we have a program that they do a live show at somebody's warehouse, a minuscule people wearing masks, and we get it, we put it online on our Die Laughing page. Something that you would do on your YouTube.
Right.
And it's working. It's working. And like, I'm having a big birthday party that Jillian put together for me, October 31st.
Oh, because your birthday is coming up.
Yeah. And it's going to be a ton of bands are on it, well-known bands and stuff. And what happens, this guy named Sticky Tips, he's the one who does helps us out with the shows. He'll make a bucket that you donate money per band. Like, say if you see Venomous Pinks, yeah, you can donate on this PayPal account. You donate. And
the virtual tipping. Yeah, the virtual donations. Yeah, that's right, awesome.
I think that's a good idea. So right now, Mickey, I think all the bands we have music coming out all the time from bands. Money Keep the Midnight Open and stuff. And then next year, we're crossing our fingers. Things open up, but to realistic, even I was reading Billboard recently, you're not going to see any fucking shows until end of next year.
Probably.
I got a hunch this administration, this fucking glue sniffer gets kicked out of office with his old lady. I hate using that word.
You know what? I've never heard anyone refer to him as glue sniffer. That's why I'm laughing, because that's a hilarious term, especially because of all the sniffing he actually does when he's in his frickin' press conferences. We all know who we're talking about.
And I feel, I'm gonna be honest, I feel sorry
Go
for
it.
I feel sorry for his wife. People are going to hate me.
I do to an extent. I mean,
okay, yeah.
She knew what she was getting into because of how long she's known him, but I think she wasn't aware. And I don't think and this is my take too, because of his ego, because of how horse blinders that man lives his life, because he's always lived off of his own father's money. He didn't realize, I think, how much it was going to blow up in his face. Right. Being a dick is one thing, but when you're a dick in charge of people of a nation, it doesn't fly. And enough of us are just like, we're done. We're done. I mean, he tried to show up to our RBG's funeral, and he was booed.
Yeah,
and they were yelling, "Vote him out!" They were chanting, "Vote him out! Vote!" And it was the one time he wore a mask.
Yeah, because
because I don't think he wanted to be seen.
It's all dog. It's all dog and pony show anyway.
Complete dog and pony. Yeah. And that's not something he's going to brag about. He doesn't want you to see, but that's a fact. That happens more often than he's letting you see.
Right.
And he knows he's losing. And it's interesting that we bring this up because your birthday is actually on Election Day. And you know what? Everyone's been saying this every day. We're going to do it right now, right? Register to vote.
I'm going to register, rock the vote, man.
Now listen, whoever's listening and watching, this is so important. Please check your registration. Yes. I'm telling you, things are being screwed up this year. And my daughter and I, we double check. I have been registered to vote in Sacramento for like 20 years. My daughter's been registered since she turned 18. And this year, for some reason, we were registered in Glendora, 400 miles south. I'm telling you, check it. Either this is happening because there's glitches, or it's happening purposefully. And this is my take. If you are not a Republican, and if you're people of color, and if you are a student, I think these people are getting fucked with. So check
Totally
your shit. And it's more than just presidency. We're voting state lawmakers. We're voting all kinds of things this year.
Let's get the house going. This is control this motherfucker, man. You know, he knows he's in the real world. He's gonna lose.
Yeah, that's why he's refusing to concede. We know this. He doesn't want to go quietly. I'm like, dude, you're gonna go in cuffs. Fuck you. Whatever.
If he fucking loses, he's gotta go. They're gonna throw his ass out. And
why do you think he keeps preaching about this fraudulent ballots for the last month? Because he knows. I was like, oh, it wasn't fraudulent when you ran, but all of a sudden now it's fraudulent because you know you're gonna lose. Come on, we're not stupid. Be pissed. Definitely, everyone listening, and if you're a supporter, that's a shame.
Yeah, if you're a supporter of Trump, fuck off, man.
That's a shame because in the beginning it's one thing, but if you can turn a blind eye to all of the crap that has happened, that's shame on you. And people want to throw, and I'll be the first to say, I always say this, Biden was not ever a choice of mine. Ever, ever, ever. Ever. Not. He wasn't. I mean, we had so many people. We had such a diverse group to pick from, and we still ended up with 3 old white guys because Bernie was still in the race at the time. Yeah. Not that I have a bad thing for Bernie, but I just get tired of saying old white guys. No offense to you, of course. And then it came down to 2 old white guys, and I just thought, 2
old white guys. Like, fuck, dude. Whatever.
So, sometimes, but to be honest, we would have to vote for Biden because we still are a 2-party system. Green Party, Independent Party, Liberal Party. There aren't enough people, and they don't have enough money.
All these independent parties and this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be blunt. I seen a post one time. I put it on my Facebook. If you're going to vote for Bernie Sanders, a vote for Trump.
Yeah.
If you're going to vote for the Green Party, it's a vote for Trump. If you're going to vote for Joe Blow's party, it's a vote for Trump. Just don't fucking hide in a cloak. You're voting for Trump, motherfucker.
That's the thing is they don't want to admit their racism. They don't want to admit their white privilege. They don't, it's all the things, right?
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
I know we just like dove head straight into the pool with no water, but that's cool. Because, and also too, and we can touch on this. I know we're like going way over, but this is a really great conversation. No, you're good because you know firsthand about this kind of thing because even though first appearance for a lot of people not paying attention, you might come off as just white, but you actually are half Hispanic.
Oh yeah,
we discussed this earlier. You talked about going through racism growing up in school in the 70s.
Oh man,
in the 80s.
Yeah, our family landed in the 60s, of all places, a coal mining town of Dora, Alabama. That's where the KKK took my baby away.
Yeah.
When you're in a school, you have dark. I have dark skin. And you
probably tan like a motherfucker. I bet you tan so beautifully with that Mexican skin. No joke. Not even making fun of you.
So the thing is, you were called certain names. I can't say it. I won't say it on here. But you're called, as far as part Mexican, you call you a wetback, beaner, whatever. And when you're sitting in a classroom, primarily, white kids, and I'm sure a lot of those kids that were raised by parents who are horrible. Because when you're a kid, you come out of the womb, you're not a racist. You're just a kid.
It's a top
It's your
thing.
family. It's people that mold you. That's my take.
It's
so when you're in a room and you're like a little kid, first grade, whatever, second grade, and obviously you have to go to the bathroom, and you ask your teacher, "I got to go to the bathroom," but you're afraid to ask because kids look at you. And I can vividly remember I had to go to the bathroom. It was hot, sweltering. I had to go.
And how old were you?
I might have been, Jesus. I was young. I was probably 8, 9, I don't know.
8 or 9?
I was a little kid.
Okay.
And all I remember, it left a scar on me. I'm 67 years old coming up. And it's left a scar ever since. The teacher told me to go outside, sit on the bench, and sit there. Instead of saying, go to the bathroom. She told me to sit down on the bench, and I shit my pants. That's the worst feeling ever. I don't care if anybody
Oh
else
my
laughs at me
gosh.
or writes shit on
No,
YouTube.
that's
Fuck
no, no,
off.
no. That's not.
Yeah.
That's shame on that teacher.
And I had a scar on that. Um,
Wow.
I shit my pants, and then getting on the bus to go home with all these kids, and they're all doing, doing this stuff,
Yeah.
Getting off the bus, and you're running home, and down this ravine, and the next day you have to go to school, and you go on the bus, and you're sitting down like this next to another kid, and the kid goes, "You shit your pants, huh?" And that kind of shit, And after that happened, everything got mentally blocked out, and we moved to
Yeah.
California, and that was,
And teachers just.
And
I'm so sorry
kids
you
can
went
be
through that.
cruel. Well, kids can be cruel to each other, bad. And
Completely,
teachers,
but teachers need to
Yeah.
police that, and when they don't,
Yeah.
and parents need to not raise children. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a daughter; she'll turn 25 this next month, and
How
I
old
dealt
are you,
with.
Mick? I don't want to ask your age, but Mickey,
You can ask. I just turned 52.
What? I thought you were a kid.
Nah, I'm just immature for my age. I don't dress for my age, but I mean, so she'll be 25, but she went through her moments of being bullied, and you better believe I didn't let that happen. Her
No.
dad and I had meetings with not only the teacher, with the principal. In fact, I even remember, and I always tell the story because I think I'm badass. We ended up, so something had happened with her in school with some kids. We show up, we have the talk with the teacher, we have a talk with the principal, and I even said, has anyone talked to her parents, the bully kid? Her parents yet? Because their whole goal was, we'll just split them and they'll play together on this day and this day, but they won't. And I thought, you're avoiding the issue. Who has not talked to her parents? And then fast forward to like a week later, we're all at this school gathering with the parents and the students, and my daughter's not thinking twice about it, and she goes, "Oh, Mom, that's da 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 da," and she points out the kid that was the bully, and I shot a look and I see the parents, and it's like this moment.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you don't fuck with my kid.
Nah,
I'll go
don't fuck
straight
with
and no one will ever find you again. Don't
Don't
even.
fuck with
You
my-
don't
don't
cry.
fuck with
And my only child,
Oh,
you've
hell
signed
no.
your death warrant. So, I stood up.
No.
I wanted, because see, I went through the bullying like you did. And I knew if I couldn't, it was my responsibility as a parent to make sure that the school did their part. And then that kid understood, you do that again, it's my face you're going to mess with. I don't care how many kids you pile up. I don't care. So that's why I kind of flared up when you told that story, because I just thought, I know we're different ages, but if we were the same age, if I was your friend, I would have totally pummeled those kids for you.
It's
that's just not right.
Especially, that was a fucked up time for me, man. And,
I bet.
My mom would say, told my dad, I remember at the dinner table, I want to go to California where my sisters live at. And we all packed all these kids, all piled in one car. Look at the Beverly Hillbillies, man.
Oh, how funny. I remember that show too. But you know what? That's the difference, though, between living, like you said, in a city, in a town where it's not only predominantly white, but the way that they run the city, the way that law enforcement acts, and everyone around them, right? They just
Fuck, man, dude, I don't get it. Why?
It still happens today, Dave. It still happens today. I've been following a lot of since the protests happened, since George Floyd's murder. We have indie journalists on the ground like Black Zebra Productions, and they covered. I'll never forget this. They were up in Placer. You know where Placerville is?
No. Yeah, exactly.
They were up in Placerville like 2 months ago, and they were doing a live stream because there were people who do live in Placerville that want them to change the name Hangtown. They want them to get rid of that noose because Placerville is extremely KKK ridden and racist. I mean,
sure.
I know people that lived there not that long ago that had crosses burned on their front yards, and non-white kids being chased by white kids, and this is less than 5 years ago. And we witnessed live, they were getting the crew was about to get attacked. You saw the white nationalist groups, the Boogaloo Boys, and they were kind of doing their back and forth thing, talking to each other.
Oh yeah,
it's real stuff, and so.
It's here, man.
And that's here in California, so I can't even imagine in Alabama.
Oh fuck!
To this day, it's probably still like that.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
You hear people, they'll talk, like a friend of mine goes, man, a civil war's coming. Dude, we're in it.
Yes, they do, Jillian. They rule. Yeah, we are. We are completely in a civil war.
We're in a civil war. It doesn't have to be cannonballs and stuff. We're in it. We're in it. You know, and you just got to watch out there. And folks, wear your fucking mask, please.
We're going to go to that one too. Yes, please.
Go do what you have to do.
Wear your masks. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not that bad.
It's not going to go away. And people go,
it's not tyranny. You're not oppressed.
I have a friend named Will. He's a drummer for Death Angel. And he got COVID. It was on Channel 4 News. It was a big deal. He was in the hospital for a month. And he said, it's no joke. I got that shit.
I have friends.
You know?
I have one friend in particular. She's on day 115, I think. You know, and she's in her 30s. She was bill of health. She did like this Iron Man or mud run or something thing like just last year. Exactly. So she had no preconceived conditions. She had nothing leading up to it. And it's just flattened her out. It is no joke, you know.
Real fast, I know we have to get going, but real fast, you know, when they talked about AIDS, when AIDS came in towards the end of the 70s, my cousin Danny died of that.
I'm sorry.
He went to the the bathhouses and stuff. They didn't have no ATC, none of that shit.
Right.
No, when President Trump recently, about a month ago, saying, "Yeah, we have a vaccine coming. We even got a cure for AIDS." And I go, "What?"
Oh my gosh,
I go,
dude!
I used to work at the AIDS Foundation. I worked there for 5 years.
We don't have a cure for that,
and it's not even close to getting a vaccine.
There's nearly 40 million people still living with HIV.
Oh, fuck.
And nearly 40 million have died from it.
I worked at the foundation.
You bring that up is important because I think anyone listening or watching, if you want to see how the way people are treating COVID and everything, it's textbook to how it went down with AIDS. If you go on Netflix and look up History 101 and watch the episode AIDS, your jaw is going to drop when you realize that Reagan, it's like when Republicans are in charge. Reagan also referred to it as a gay plague. Yeah, and there was discrimination highly against gay people. He also cut off funding to the World Health Organization like Trump did. He also downplayed it. They even have footage of politicians and the presidential administration laughing about the seriousness of it because right now we're still learning about it and mistakes are going to happen and it's going to seem like it isn't a big deal. I can sympathize to that to a point because we don't have a book for this, but it doesn't mean you act like an ass. No. So if you watch that, you'll see it's textbook the way it's going about. We're not looking to have a cure for this or a vaccine for this probably until next year. There'll be trials.
Yeah, there'll be
if
trials.
You want to be a guinea pig.
Yeah, I mean,
and take a chance. They even wanted to quarantine gays they wanted to like quarantine them in buildings and stuff. It was ridiculous.
It was like fucking stupid, man.
I remember I was old enough to remember being in middle and high school when people had a fear of drinking out of the same cup, going to the bathroom,
or standing a couple of feet away,
because they thought you could get AIDS that way because they didn't know any better because they were so scared. And I get the scared thing. I don't get the anger and the hostility thing.
I would deliver meals when I was in the SF AIDS Foundation. I worked there. I would deliver meals, and guys and a few women were really in bad shape. My cousin, when he died, like I said, they didn't have the ACT was barely coming in. He had all the little black welts and the little black dots, those and things. It broke my heart. Danny boy, we call him. But if the whole thing is, we're going to switch gears here. People vote. Make your vote count.
Yes.
Make it fucking count, man. We have a president.
Because your voice does matter and your vote will count.
And I don't want to hear you guys going, I don't want to vote for president. I'm just going to vote for the initiatives. Fuck off, man.
You need to vote. And you need to vote them out. You need to check your registration. You need to make sure if you want to go in person that there's a polling place. And if you're a willing and able-bodied person,
take some people with you.
Yes, and if you're a willing and able-bodied person like I am, what you do is you make sure the elderly get their vote ballots there. You make sure disabled people get their vote ballot there.
Right.
If you were involved with LGBTQIA at all, you make sure, because trans people are dealing with identity issues because of that. So
Exactly.
there's a lot of interference happening with that administration to try and minimize and derail your votes. I mean, they said last year over 100 million people didn't vote, but I beg to differ that they actually didn't. I think their votes were turned away. I think they weren't counted. I think people were told they had already voted when they didn't. Yes.
But
Yes.
you know, the funniest thing before we leave here,
Yes.
and it was on the news last night, a couple of guys in the post office, they got busted, but they were throwing away Trump votes.
Oh,
Someone knew that they found
no.
out how they can do. They threw away a lot of Trump votes. I'll tell where it's going, man. No two wrongs is the right, man. Don't do that. You know, it makes it look bad for everybody else. But the whole thing.
And the
is,
last thing, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Mickey. No, go ahead, Mickey.
I just put it up there for people who can see it. All in Fight for Democracy. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. It's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime. It is free. Please watch that. And not only does it give you the history of voting and how basically black people were oppressed, but it brings it to today and how even different voting that had happened just this year and 2 years ago were interfered with. And it's a way for you to double check to make sure your vote counts. Because don't think for a moment that it doesn't, and don't think for a moment you, me, all of us can change this for the better. That's the beauty of living in the United States.
Even if you vote and they go, it ain't going to count. Yeah, it does.
It will.
And even back east, the voting polls closed earlier than us. Keep voting.
Keep voting.
Keep going.
Just keep going.
And everything. But listen, guys, if you guys want to contact Die Laughing Records, go to www.com, dielaughing.com or goldenrobot.com. And if you want to drop me, Jillian, or Rob a line, even Mark, we'll probably throw you some swag. But I want to thank Jillian, Elizabeth setting this up, my CEO, Rob Trisler, and Mark from Golden Robot. And Mickey, you are a pleasure to talk to. And, you know,
thank you. It was wonderful to talk with you.
And I like that. So.
No, we're going to meet. Let's make that. We're going to put that into the universe.
We will.
We'll be safe about it, but we'll do it.
And watch out for Chicanery Records and Jillian. She's a force to be reckoned with. Sure is.
Yes, you can go to The Bad Filipino and you can catch my interview with her. Her and I talked a couple of weeks back. Great conversation. And I want to thank you for taking the time out, carving time out of your busy schedule and talking with me on The Bad Filipino.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mickey.
You have a great night.
Good night. Good night.